Hey guys, so it's been a while since I did an update video on my pregnancy, and part of that is just me being lazy. I have had a hard time motivating myself in the last few months specifically. I'm just a lot more tired and worn out at the end of the day than I thought I would be, but that's all part of it. So I am going to talk today about kind of some updates. I'm going to be 30 weeks on Sunday, and I'm also going to talk about my glucose test because I failed it, and I was so nervous about it, and I couldn't find like a lot of videos talking about that. So I'm going to chat about that today and tell you kind of what I'm doing for that. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I'll show you guys my bump here. This is where we're at. My belly is getting pretty gosh darn big now. My belly button looks weird as heck. I have some, I don't know how well you can tell in this lighting, sorry it's weird lighting. Some like discoloration around my belly button, but besides that I don't have any stretch marks yet. So far so good. But I am starting to notice that I'm gaining weight in like other parts of my body. Like I'm noticing that my sides are actually getting a little bit more chubby and my arms are looking a little bit bigger, which is actually really good. I have had a hard time gaining weight throughout this pregnancy. So I've only gained about 15 pounds total so far, and like I said, I'm going to be 30 weeks, so that is kind of low. I am pretty small in general. I haven't been able to gain a ton of weight like in the past. I'm just have always kind of been a similar weight from the time that I was in high school up until now. So it hasn't been a huge concern, and because I've been eating well and just eating normal and stuff, my doctors haven't been too concerned about it. But I am noticing that before I only was seeing my belly grow, and now I'm actually seeing like the rest of my body kind of playing catch up on that. So it is a little weird to see my body changing like this, but it's good because that means I'm gaining the weight that I'm supposed to be gaining. So along with that, there are some new symptoms that I've been having, especially now that I am in the third trimester. One of them is heartburn. Speaking of, I have it right now. It has just been pretty much constant now. And anytime I like bend down to get something, or if I drink water too quickly, I just feel like I'm going to be nauseous, and it's just not a lot of fun. I can like feel the burning sensation in my chest, and Tums help sometimes. I am kind of being careful avoiding really spicy and greasy foods and stuff, but unfortunately I am craving spicy foods. So all the foods that I'm craving are the foods that are causing the heartburn. So that hasn't been a ton of fun. At night, I'm just kind of remedying that by taking Tums right before bed, trying not to eat too close to bedtime, trying not to drink too much before bedtime, and then also just propping myself up with my pillows. So that way I'm not laying flat or anything like that. So that's been working okay. Honestly, I wake up a lot in the middle of the night and have to move or sit up for a little while because the heartburn is bad, and that's just all part of it. That's honestly my biggest complaint lately. My hips have been really sore in the last few weeks specifically. I can feel them just stretching out. It feels almost like growing pains is what I would compare it to. It's just weird to feel that in your hips because I don't know if I've ever had growing pains in my hips before. So that's a little odd to get used to. And then my skin has pretty much been a mess this whole pregnancy. To be honest, I've been breaking out really bad. It is finally starting to look like my normal skin texture again though. For a long time, my skin was just really, really dry, and I've always had kind of oily skin. So that was a little weird for my face. But now it is starting to go back to its oiliness, and I don't know how well you can tell in this lighting again. Sorry, the lighting's really weird. But I still am breaking out all over my face and even on my neck and chest quite a bit. And unfortunately, I've tried a lot of different stuff, but I'm just kind of letting my skin do its thing. I am trying to avoid putting too much on it, trying to avoid, over being too proactive with like putting stuff on my acne. I'm just letting it do its thing. I know that it is all hormonal anyway, and there's not a lot I can do for it, other than eating well and making sure I'm getting plenty of water. So last week, in my 28 weeks appointment, I had my 1 hour glucose test. If you don't know what that is, most pregnant women get that in their 28 to 30 week range. Basically, you don't eat or drink for 2 hours leading up to the test, and then they give you this little like 10 ounces water bottle of a glucose drink. So mine was 10 ounces and it had 50 grams of sugar. I just got the orange flavored one. It wasn't carbonated, it was just like a sugar water. And honestly, it didn't taste bad at all. It was just like a kid's like really sugary drink or something. It kind of tasted like if you have an Otter Pop that melted and you drink it. That's what it tasted like. It was just really sweet, but it wasn't gross or anything. So I drank that, and then an hour later they drew my blood to see what my glucose levels were at, and mine were high. You had to have less than 139 to pass the test, and I was at 174. So that is pretty high, especially for the test. And so after I failed that, my doctor called me and asked me to do the 3 hour glucose test, which basically means that you fast for 12 hours, you drink a 100-gram sugar drink, the same size, but it's 100 grams. And then they have to draw your blood for the next 3 hours to see if your body is processing it correctly. I did not want to do that. To be totally honest with you, even though the sugary drink wasn't bad and I did the test okay, afterwards, like that night, my stomach was really upset and I just didn't feel good. And I think it was from the drink. I also got my Tdap shot at the same time of that appointment, so it could have been from the shot, but either way, I didn't feel great, and the idea of fasting for 12 hours was not fun for me. So I asked my doctor if there were alternatives to it, and the alternative is to get a home glucose test, like you would get if you were diabetic, and test your own blood sugar levels for a week with what you normally eat. So this is an alternative that my doctor gave me. Your doctor might offer something similar or something kind of different depending on your situation. But basically, for the next 7 days, I am testing my own blood sugar at home with just whatever I normally eat and seeing what my levels are at. So I test in the morning when I first wake up. That's your like fasting level, and that should be below 90. So this morning when I tested, mine was 87, and that was within range, so that was fine. Then I have to test an hour after each meal, so a total of 4 times throughout the day, and basically after lunch and breakfast I tested today, and both of my levels were still well within range of what they should be, so I am pretty confident I do not have gestational diabetes. Like I said, one of the main issues with my pregnancy is that I haven't been able to gain weight. So that's usually the opposite of what happens when you have gestational diabetes. But it is good to know, and it's good to just, make sure that I don't actually have that, because that can cause complications with the baby and everything. So I picked up this home glucose test from Target. This is the One Touch Ultra Mini test, and this whole little kit comes together. So basically it comes with this little tool that you reload with needles. So you reload it every time you use it, and it's just like a little gun. Basically you load the needle in, you pull back the little trigger, you put it up against your finger, and then you press the little button to release the needle, and that just pokes your finger. And then you have to buy these little test strips, which these were kind of expensive and that kind of stunk, but honestly this is cheaper than the lab work that I would have to do for the 3 hour, so I didn't mind purchasing these. So you just take out a little test strip, and then you put it into the little reader here, and then when you turn the reader on, it will tell you to add blood to the test strip, and you just put it up against the blood that you just drew, and it will read your levels. So this one also has a memory storage program, so I can see that I was 126 at lunch, and I can scroll through my day and see what my levels were at. So it's pretty easy. It's really not that bad. The finger prick isn't that painful. I recommend, if you have to do this, to prick the side of your fingers. If you go like straight for the pad or the tip of your finger, it is gonna hurt more. You have more nerve endings on the tip of your finger, but on the sides there's not as many. Yeah, I've been measuring that just for 1 day now, and my levels have been completely normal and within range. So to be honest with you, I think that the 1 hour glucose test isn't a great way to actually measure how your body handles sugar, because I didn't eat very much that morning for fear of messing the test up. And so I was hungry all morning, and I took the test in the afternoon, and I could tell when I was taking the test, I was still shaky and jittery from all the sugar, and I knew I wasn't gonna pass it. So this is, I think, a much better alternative and probably a much more realistic view of how my body actually processes the sugar that I eat. But in general, I have been eating pretty healthy, and I am still exercising and walking regularly, so this hasn't really been too much of a change for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Pregnancy brain has gotten so bad, you guys. I cannot remember a thing. My husband has to keep like reminding me of stuff and checking with me. I forgot to put food in the fridge when we came home from the store. I keep misplacing my phone. I mean, it's so bad. Like, I cannot remember things longer than 5 minutes. So that's been fun, and that's part of the reason why I haven't been filming as many videos, because honestly, I keep forgetting. So that's why the lighting is so crappy right now, because I was like, I'm gonna film this now while I'm thinking of it. But yeah, that is kind of it, you guys, for an update. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I will keep an eye out in the comments. My next update I'll probably do after a couple of appointments. I have doctor appointments every 2 weeks now, which is just crazy to me that we are that far along, and that our little girl is gonna be here in 10 weeks. Like, that's just insane. I will be posting some videos of like our nursery tour and like our baby registry and all that fun stuff. I just got to get those all edited, but they are already filmed, so I have been productive, I promise. I've just been productive with very selective things. So yeah, that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for keeping up with this journey. I'm so excited for little Evelyn to get here, and we will see you guys very soon. Have a good one.